Welcome parents and seniors of the class of 2022. In this video, we are going to be discussing college placement exams. The most common college placement exams are the SAT and the ACT. We get questions a lot about whether or not it is important to still take these tests as we migrate away from some of our colleges requiring them. The answer to that question is complicated and layered, and it really depends on each student. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some information that will help you make a decision for your family and what is in the best interest of your student. The SAT and ACT are not required for admissions in many of our Oregon schools. They are also not required for many of our Oregon school scholarships. Some Oregon schools may still require them for some of their top tier scholarships. So it would be important to check in with your admissions office or with the financial aid office, and they should be able to tell you if the school is going to use an SAT or ACT score, which scholarships that might affect. If you are thinking about going to college outside of Oregon, it might be important to take the SAT or ACT just so that you have your options open, because some schools outside of Oregon may still require them. And if you think that you might be going to Florida, well, Florida definitely is requiring the SAT and ACT for their procedures. Some of the pros of taking the SAT is that the SAT can boost your academic profile. So if you're a little concerned that maybe you don't meet all the requirements of admissions for your chosen school, if they do a holistic process, it could be that the SAT gives you a boost and makes you eligible for that admission. It can also boost you into another bracket for your merit scholarships. So if your GPA took a hit because of some performances in your classes during COVID, if you take an SAT or an ACT and get a good score, it can potentially move you up higher on that merit-based scholarship. It can also help you access other aid. So there might be other scholarships. Some of our private scholarships, local private scholarships do require the SAT. They're not all of them, but there are a handful. And so having that in your tool bucket of things that can talk about who you are as a student can be helpful. And you also get the bragging rights. For the rest of your life, you can tell everybody how well you did on the SAT test. Some of the cons. The test is long. You will be going to a testing center locally. If you go to a testing center, it will be either Churchill or Sheldon. And the test will take a good half of your day. You also have to pay a fee. If your family qualifies for free and reduced lunch, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But most students will have to pay a fee for taking the test. And if you do take the test, there is still the potential that you may choose a school that doesn't need it, and so you may have taken the test and not needed it. If you do take the test, here's some things to keep in mind. I talked about that fee waiver. If you think that your family would qualify for free and reduced lunch, which you don't need this year because our schools are providing food, there is still an opportunity to apply for the free and reduced lunch program, because some programs like Kids Sports and the SAT and ACT do use that letter to waive the fees. So if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, which I will tell you about on the next slide how to access that, you can present that letter to myself or Mr. Josh, and we can give you a fee waiver to cover the cost. You do need to pick your test date. You can take either the November test or the December test at this point. And registration closes 1 month prior. So if you're thinking about taking that November test, you only have a couple of weeks to make that decision. Make sure to have a current photo that at least somewhat resembles your photo ID, because you will, when you register yourself for the test, need to upload a photo, and then they will compare that to your student ID or your permit or your driver's license when you come in to take the test to verify that it is you taking the test. You also need to have payment ready. So if you don't qualify for that fee waiver, you need to be ready with your credit card or your parents' credit card. So if you do require your parents' assistance for the funding part of your test, make sure that they're around when you decide to register for it. You will want to make sure that you use College Board's practice practice test. College Board is where you sign up for the SAT, or an ACT has a separate one. So you can also practice ACT separately, but I'm going to talk about College Board right now. So for College Board, you can sign in and you can practice a full-length SAT test. Some of them are purely practice tests. Some of them are tests that they used to use and no longer use. So it gives you an opportunity to see what it feels like. If you sign up with College Board to take the practice test, you can also sign up for a feature with Khan Academy, where anything that you missed, Khan Academy will give you a lesson to help you understand the concept and why you missed the question so that you can get it right when you take the actual test. And then Willamette High School has funds to do a SAT prep class. We don't have that in the works yet. We'll be talking to some teachers, so be on the lookout for information about when we might have our next SAT prep class and the sign up for that. ACT also, you would benefit for the ACT test taking SAT prep classes, but there are also ACT testing materials online as well. And then this slide is going to show you how to apply for the Nutrition Services Free and Reduced Lunch letter. So to get to this page, you will go to the Bethel website, and you're going to click on departments. Under departments, you're going to find nutrition services, and this is what the picture will look like when it loads up. And you'll see the free breakfast and lunch for all, which is amazing and so exciting that we can offer that to you. Then right underneath it says Need the Oregon Household Free and Reduced Lunch Application for Other Programs. Click here. So you'll click there, you'll fill out an application, and it will let you know if you qualify or do not qualify. That's the end of this video. If you have further questions about SAT or ACT, I hope that you will join us on September 29th, which is next Wednesday, at 6:30 p.m. for our live question and answer Zoom session. Thank you so much and have a great evening.